But I suppose this is the other truth, because I think the atheist likes to say this as well. So why didn't... Because God could have just not made the serpent. And,
Okay.
oh yeah, and the other one the atheists love to say is, so why didn't God just kill Satan?
Okay. Okay, well, the fact is, if in the garden there was no serpent, or the serpent was killed before he could do his damage, then we'd be again the garden would not be symbolising what it needs to symbolise. I'm saying although it symbolises things, it may still be a real garden. I'm not doubting that it really happened, but it's to show that man is always going to face this choice to obey God or to disobey God, and there will be it's easier to obey God when there's no temptation going on, when you're not being invited by some outside force to disobey God. But in fact, there is a demon out there, the devil, and he wants to persuade us to disobey God. So it makes it even more difficult to obey God. So by actually not having the serpent in the garden, reduces the reality of the symbol. Because the reality is Satan will be there to tempt us. So then the question might be, why not have killed Satan when he fell, instead of casting him into the earth and then letting him roam around, causing us trouble? Well, God could have done that to destroy the angelic being, but it seems that God's way, once he's created a being, he doesn't destroy it. No being, no sentient being. Of course, the animals have animal souls, as we Catholics say. So when they die, that's the end of the animal. Same with plants with their vegetative souls. When they die, that's the end of them. But human beings and angelic beings have indestructible souls. So the decision that the angelic being makes, or the human being makes, determines where it ends up in the end. And so Satan would be around. He could have said, why did he let him go into the garden or roam around the earth? Why not chain him up? Well, the basic fact about the book of Genesis and the incident in the garden is that Eve went to the tree. She chose to stay and listen to the serpent, which, as in Maria Valtosa's vision, Jesus says, look, she could have said to herself, look, this is strange, animals don't talk. This creature's talking. Right? And she felt this stirring within her with this animal speaking to her. So she could have gone to God the Father, who she'd been speaking to freely. As we know, God spoke with our parents in the garden and said, look, this is strange, this animal's spoken to me, I feel disturbed. Can you cure me? She could have done this, but she stayed and listened to this serpent. And instead of then going to God the Father, she went to her husband and tried to convince him, without any authority whatsoever, that this was a good thing. So it was Satan, yes, who instigates, but she bears the majority of the blame for what she then did. And her husband bears the majority of the blame for what he then did. Because it wasn't even the snake this time convincing him. It was the mere helpmate, the woman.
Well, I suppose when you say mere, one thing I see about Eve when I sort of read it is that, you know how we see women now? I feel that the way that Eve persuaded Adam, it's like she was a lot more, you could say she was not really manly, but the way that I see her is that she's a lot different from how women are now.
Okay.
So it just feels like there was something that happened to change the way women are towards men now compared to how Eve was. But what was I going to say?
That's a progressive evil, though. And there's a different kind of evil that's affected women. We have common evils which affect us both.
Yeah.
But then with our respective sexes, we have different kinds of evils as well that work on us.
Yeah.
And so women who are affected by feminist revolution, which has become more and more extreme since Simone de Beauvoir, and the kind of the male approach to life is also where we are not seeing ourselves now as husbands and fathers primarily. So we're all affected in different ways. And in fact, our lives now, instead of uniting in Catholic marriage, as in medieval Christendom, where you unite like that, for life, now it's actually two fighters at each other. And American men, you see it on the internet, American men, they're saying, don't marry, because she'll just marry you and she's already planning when she'll divorce you and take all your money. So there's this kind of attitude of warfare between men and women, and none of them are happy. Nobody's happy. You have this brief happy romance period, which is what draws people in, this anti-Christian approach to relations between the sexes. But then it's like, it's just setting the scene for a catastrophe of all these relationships which are catastrophic all over the Western world. So Eve has sort of started the ball rolling, but the Blessed Virgin Mary cured that in the way that Jesus cured us men, if we accept the grace that God gives.